Compare draft projections to 401k balances. No number you see is actually real until the day your name is called or you make a withdrawal. And sometimes all it takes for either value to plummet is someone talking nonsense, either publicly or privately with the real decision makers. And that's a lesson that just about every draft prospect learned this week, but especially Shedeur Sanders, a projected first-round pick who for some unclear reason fell all the way to the 5th round, where the Browns finally selected the Colorado standout with the 144th overall pick.
Shedeur Sanders, to me, when you talk about the locker room and the players around him, they love him. Now, the perception from others outside, based on what there's the noise, maybe they didn't like what they heard. I don't know how it was handled. You get all the word about this, that. You think, well, they're just trying to hurt Shedeur. Teams are throwing it out there. You don't know what was true, what wasn't. How Deion's going to operate. Deion's going to stay out of it. Deion's going to be calling or threatening any coaches or saying, or there'll be a threat that Deion could take over. Deion's not happy. Deion's not going to say anything. Deion's going to coach Colorado. So a lot of this stuff, I think, just made no sense to me, kind of the negativity you heard over the last couple months.
This is not about can you play the position. This is about do we want you to play the position for us. That's what this came
Why wouldn't they, Lou?
Well, look, that's a whole nother discussion that we've had in many different ways for weeks
I would say
and
that
months now.
This is not one of the toughest quarterbacks you've ever
seen. Mel, this isn't about this isn't about quarterback traits and quarterback characteristics, personal football character. That's not about this. This is personal.
Has he had an off the field issue? No, he has not.
Mel, you don't have to sell it to me.
No, I don't know what we're talking about here.
You're right. You're right.
Yes,
you're right. But you know what? But Mel, the draft has spoken.
This was the result.
Yeah.
Now he has an opportunity to answer it.
I
think yelling at the NFL about it is not.
There's not a quarterback. Boomer Esiason was not happy when he was a second-round pick. Tom Brady was not happy. They dropped. How'd they turn out?
And you know what?
Nobody's arguing that.
Out of quarterback Shedeur Sanders, son of primetime Deion Sanders, who many considered the second best quarterback in January. Sanders was just picked by the Cleveland Browns as the 144th selection of the 5th round overall. Shedeur wasn't drafted in round 1 on Thursday. He wasn't drafted on Friday during rounds 2 and 3, and teams passed on him again earlier this afternoon in round 4. So here's a look at all the quarterbacks that have been taken so far. Cam Ward went number 1 overall at Tennessee. Then the Giants picked Jackson Dart with the 25th overall pick, a pick they moved up to get, by the way. They moved up to get that pick. Round 2 began last night, and the first quarterback taken was Tyler Shuck, who went to the New Orleans Saints with the 40th overall pick. Then in round 3 to Seattle, the Seahawks took Jalen Milroe from Alabama with the 92nd overall pick. And then 2 picks later, the Cleveland Browns selected Dillon Gabriel with the 94th overall pick in the 3rd round. And there were no more quarterbacks taken on Friday. So those are the 5 quarterbacks that went ahead of Shedeur Sanders. And before I give you my feelings on this, I want to show you the 5 quarterbacks the Browns now have on their roster. The quarterback room now includes Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, the aforementioned Dillon Gabriel, Deshaun Watson, who is injured with his Achilles tear, and of course now Shedeur Sanders. Ladies and gentlemen, you know it's bad when the President of the United States, Donald Trump, is pushing out tweets about how corrupt it is. I mean, think about that. President Donald Trump is pulling out tweets about how corrupt it is and how these owners look absolutely stupid or ill-advised. And I don't know about y'all, but I want y'all to listen before I get into it to my man Mel Kiper Jr. of ESPN, who is going off about Shedeur Sanders being snubbed because he had Sanders as arguably the best quarterback in this draft. Listen to what this man had to say. Some bullshit. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to say that while in the same breath conceding and acknowledging that Shedeur Sanders is not blameless here. Primetime Deion Sanders is not blameless here. I'm going to say what I have to say, knowing that both of them have their hands at least a little bit dirty in all of this. But if you're the National Football League, okay, clearly it's not about talent anymore. It's about something else. And I'm going to tell you, I spent a large amount of the last 24 hours thinking about nothing more than I was thinking about collusion. Because how in the hell does 32 teams in the National Football League pass on a quarterback that was universally recognized one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the country entering this draft, and 32 teams passed on him? Not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 different times they passed on him. How the hell does that happen? 4 rounds. It doesn't happen to a quarterback. We've never seen anything like this before. We've seen guys drop because of injuries. We've seen guys drop because of off-field issues, but we've never seen a quarterback projected to be a top 20 pick, universally recognized one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the draft, projected to be a first rounder, in all likelihood a safe bet of a late first rounder, and drop literally to the 5th round. We haven't seen anything like that. And when you're talking about the owners, I'm going to keep in mind, and I tweeted about this, seems very Kaepernick-like, as in Colin Kaepernick. Now, I've said on many occasions the man brought it on himself, because once he was exiled from the sport because of taking a knee during the national anthem and you just irritating all the quote-unquote patriots out there as American citizens, I said, you know something? He didn't violate any bylaws. He didn't violate any laws. He didn't interfere with what transpired once kickoff time arrived. People are tripping. But still in all, he had an opportunity to get back in the NFL. All he had to do was show up to that workout that the league had organized at the Atlanta Falcons practice facility, but he didn't show up to that. And as a result, 2 hours beforehand, had everybody trying to come to a high school football field 120 minutes away, 2 hours away. So guess what? You did that to yourself. That was not Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders with the watch. Shedeur Sanders with his bravado. Shedeur Sanders with this supposed arrogance or whatever. He still balled. He still threw for over 4,100 yards, still threw for 37 touchdowns, still threw for just 10 interceptions, still proved himself to be one of the better quarterbacks in football. Tremendous pause, pocket presence, accuracy, throwing the damn football. Didn't have great wheels, doesn't have great athleticism, but the brother can play. I certainly never heard of no damn Dylan Gabriel or Tyler Shock. What the hell is that? I didn't hear about them. So how is Shedeur Sanders going behind them? I'll tell you how. It's collusion. And why do I bring up Kaepernick? Because I keep reminding everybody that the owners, I'll never forget this as long as I live. The owners in the National Football League are very big on control. And Colin Kaepernick's position really railed them. It really riled them, it irritated them, because even though they received a check for over $246 million a piece because of their TV rights deal, they were mad it wasn't $250 to $255. They blamed Colin Kaepernick. They said he compromised their bottom line. That's what they said. They got a check for $246 million a piece and were still complaining about the $5 million they missed out on because of him. In their estimation, no proof of